G'day guys, it's Dan from Grobotron here, and I wanted to show off my MidiEvil, my MIDI-controlled loop switch. Alright, let's check it out. So, let's get a better view of this here. There we go. So you can see my board here. MidiEvil, like I said, is a MIDI-controlled loop switch. It can also be controlled by the 5 momentary switches on the front. So just going through the features quickly, I've got my manual in front of me just to jog my memory. We've got a switchable input buffer. It's on a switch on the top here. We'll have a bit of a closer look soon. It's just a TL72 input buffer based on a clon. So you can switch it on or off depending if you want fully true bypassed or a nice input buffer. It sounds really nice. It's from a clon, so you know it's going to work nicely. The 4 true bypass loops I've got in this thing, I'm using good quality NEC signal relays. The 5th output is a normally open amp switch. It's also using an NEC relay. With this thing, I've got 2 distinct foot switch modes. So let's just zoom in a little bit here so you can get a better look at it. Well, not that one. Let's do the pedal board. I want to zoom in on the pedal board. Here we go. There we go. Let's get my ugly mug out of the road. So you can see here as I switch through these here, it's actually set up to recall presets. So I've got preset 1, preset 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You can also hit the switch on the bottom here. That'll take it into bank 2. So then you've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Back to bank 1, and there we go. So I also have a direct mode. So you can change it to have direct access to the foot switches, or the relays rather. So let's just go here. So PC, CC, FSM is foot switch mode. So we're going to change it to direct now. And you'll see as I press these now, it's just turning on and off each individual switch or relay. So loop 3 engaged, off. So the idea is, like for me, I'd have direct mode enabled in conjunction with my MIDI controller. So let's zoom out. In this case, you can see my MIDI controller down the bottom here. I can set it up here. So my switch labeled Doom, it's going to record preset 1. My switch labeled Metal is calling preset 2. And my Cleans is preset 3. As well as that, if I want to directly access a loop or the amp switch, I can do it from here. So it just opens up the possibilities. All right, so without going too deep into it, there's a manual you can have access to with heaps of pretty pictures you can look at to see how to do it. We'll just quickly go through the settings in the menu. So I get to the menu. Let's just zoom in a bit so you can see better. I get to the menu by pressing and holding this first button here. So PC on, that's PC messages in. It just says if it comes in on my channel set, it just tells it to ignore or listen to PC changes. In this case, I want it to listen to program changes, so it's on. Change settings, CC, same thing again. If you want to send CC commands, you can assign a CC or a controller to each one of these relays. Individually if you want. I've just got it defaulted to 1 to 5, but you can change it to 6 to whatever you would like. But you can turn that off if you want it to ignore CC messages. The foot switch mode, so like you're saying, direct or program, PGM, so it just tells you whether these foot switches recall a program or whether they recall the direct state of the relay. So channel, this is where you can set your MIDI channel. In my case, I've got it set to channel 2. I've got 3 MIDI devices on my board. 2 work sequentially from left to right for me. But yeah, you can press this if you want to change it. If you press it, it's going to oh no, it doesn't go up in 10s, that's a CC. So if we go up to 16, it's going to go back to 1. Let's set it back to 2. Here we can set our controllers or our controller numbers set to each switch. So CC1 is switch 1. We can change that to, let's go back to CC for a sec. Oh, CC2, let's just stay there. So switch 2 or relay 2, if I want to change that to CC3, it's just a matter of going up through, setting what you want. 1 to 5 is perfect, but you can if you want. If you press and hold this, it's going to skip in lots of 10s. CC, you know, like you can use it, but you know, programs is easy enough to do. Just so you know too, so 0 to 63 from memory, the controller values will switch off the output. Values from 64 to 127 will switch the relay on. All right, so what do we got here? Once we get up through our CCs, we're back to the start. So that's pretty much the edit mode. It's pretty simple, nice and easy to use. Let's zoom out here and get a better look at this thing. Let's just turn these off so you can see it. Oh, how about I go back in? I'm going to turn this on to direct mode. We'll turn that off. Get all these lights off so it's easy to see. You can see across the top here, I've got a beautiful piece of acrylic laser etched, and I paint filled it from a local Brisbane supplier. They did a really great job. And I've just got it etched out. My loop numbers, I've got my true bypass or buffered bypass switch here. Let's just get this loose so you can see the top. All right, as best I can. I'm not going to undo it all. How do we do? I'm just going to undo this all and show you. Messing up my board here, but you've got to do what you've got to do. So you can see the top here. I've got MIDI in, so you can see labeled on the front here, MIDI in and MIDI through. So MIDI in, and for my board, I had I didn't have a MIDI DA on here, so I just decided to build it in. I've got my 9-volt input, my in and out. So all the sends and the output, so I've just got the black ring. The the returns I've done red, and the amp switch I've done green. So that's my buffered or true bypass switch here. Pretty simple, pretty nifty, and very pretty. Now let's just get that back there. Actually, while I got it out, I don't know if you can see very well here. The enclosure, I did a, what would you call it, electrolysis kind of aging on it. So I just threw it in some water and salt and ran it through an electrolysis process to really kind of beat it up a bit. Actually tried to also do a copper kind of, what would you call it, a copper, I don't know, layer on it. It didn't really work out, but it still looks awesome. Now, let's just go full screen again on me because I want to show you the build doc I've done up. So apart from doing up the manual for, using the device, pretty pictures there and how to program it, I've also done a build doc up for those guys that would like to actually build one of these, yourself. So what have we got in here? I've got bunch of links to all the firmware. So the firmware for this thing is written up as an exe. You can run it on your computer and load the firmware straight to the device if you build it. I've also got the uncompiled code. So on that, I haven't mentioned yet, this whole thing is running on an Arduino Nano. So it's pretty, open source. The code I used was an open source project I found, and I've just added some functions and the button, the button functions to it. Before it was more like a standalone MIDI only controlled device, and I've just expanded upon that, and I'm going to make that code available to you guys if you're into that. If not, you can just get the exe and run it and update the device itself pretty easily. So back to the build doc. Everything is here that you need. I've got all all of the part descriptions. So what have we got here? A bill of materials. I've also gone as far to put a list of tater parts that I've used, because tater's nice and easy to order from. I've also done up a drill template to size for a 1032L enclosure, so it's nice and easy. Now, I drilled mine out by measuring it up, and I made this drill template after. The only thing I've excluded on there is a USB port on the side. Everything else is there. What else do I have in here? Well, you've got there's also the schematic here somewhere if you need to troubleshoot. Pretty schematic. So the schematic and BOM are pretty much exported straight out of KiCad. There's nothing fancy. So I definitely don't recommend building this if you haven't built a pedal before. It's pretty advanced, but at the same time, have a go. We're all available. I'm available online if you need something. And there's plenty of other people to help on Facebook forums and Reddit if you need to. So definitely recommend giving it a go. If you build pedals, you'll have some fun. All right, I think that's everything. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out, Facebook or YouTube or wherever you've seen this video, just reach out and ask any questions. But I hope that was enlightening for you as it was for me speaking about it, because I haven't actually looked at this in a few weeks, so it was a bit of a refresher for me. So thanks, guys. Cheers.